Hello, everyone. We are having massive problems with technology today. So we're going to discuss it. We are here. We are with the Cars Casually team. Chris has got me so nervous when I say that. I don't know what to do anymore. We are with Nix. We are with Paulo. We are with Chris. We are with G. And today we are going to be talking about what we are talking about, which is basically what's been going on in the automotive and technology world. We were supposed to be talking about cars, but it's been pouring rain for a week and a half, and that hasn't happened. Our hearts go out, and our thoughts and our support go out to the people that are stuck in places on top of roofs and so on, where everyone is doing what they can to get them out. So today we're talking more about news items and things we actually talk about when we walk in the office and just chat. And we're going to start with things like what happened in Formula One with Paulo, because we're going to give him some grief. We're going to talk to Chris. We're going to talk to Nix. We're going to talk to G, who's probably going to educate all of us more than anything anyway. So, G, we're going to start with you. G, what do we need to know?
Okay. Uh, First of all, the 11th generation Honda Civic prototype is coming out. It's not the actual production version, but a sneak peek into what's to come. Just like what they did with the Brio, I think 1 or 2 years ago.
Okay.
The reason why this is significant is because amidst all the crossovers that people seem to love nowadays, Honda is one of those companies which still is very confident about their sedan, and we all know the Civic is the erstwhile
Yeah.
nameplate. So,
Yeah, it's a key model globally.
yeah,
So, okay, no, that's a good point. G is talking about the global reveal of the
yes.
prototype, which he says tends to be fairly close to the actual production car,
hmm
visually at least, right? What about the timeline? What's the timeline? If we see the reveal now, when do we expect to see the actual car?
Unfortunately, Global Honda didn't say anything, but if we were to go by models like the Brio, it would have been less than a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
when the Brio came out. So,
Okay, if that's
yeah.
less than a year, that means the car's already in production, basically, right, guys? At this point, they'd
Well,
have
Yeah,
to,
I'm
if they're going to
sure.
launch within
I'm
a year,
sure.
it's got to be in production.
yeah.
So what we're seeing
So most
is,
likely, it's really
okay,
scheduled for 2020 to be a 2022 model. So, because if you base it on the Civic life cycle, there.
okay. So okay, then I guess that's a good point then. What we're looking at is the basic car is ready. They may be prototyping this just to give certain markets a chance to make their comments and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, are you saying 2022, meaning it'll be a 2021 actual
Late, yeah,
release?
late 2021.
Late
Something
2021.
like that. At least
Does that
based
does
on
that follow,
Around
Chris?
this
understanding.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
sounds right.
Okay. So what else? Next, you were talking about the new Lexus, which is
Oh
also a
yeah,
sedan, actually.
so what's this again? This, well, depending when you're watching it, but at least for us, this coming Saturday, Lexus Philippines is going to be showcasing, releasing, or for sale the Lexus IS. So they have two variants coming. The one I love and the one I'm curious. So the one I love is the IS F Sport because it looks really cool while being
Mm-hmm.
reasonable in the power plant. So it's the V6 that we love from Toyota slash Lexus. Rear-wheel drive. That's like a recipe for fun. But what I'm more curious is the 300H, the IS 300H. I wonder how that's going to perform, like in our local market, because it uses a 2.5 liter, which I'm guessing is the same one or similar one from the Camry, and electric motor. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just really curious how it's going to perform.
All right. Are they using the same platform in terms of the powertrain?
Flat powertrain seems so, but there's like been a bump of power because from the press release we got, it's like it's bumped up to 300 horsepower for the V6.
Okay, but then
Because
are they making any mechanical changes that they've mentioned or
uh,
not yet? We're going to be
that
driving
one
it soon, but haven't driven it yet.
that mentioned, no, not to my knowledge at least. But
Okay. Okay.
knowing Lexus, they probably tweak things.
Well, they're always well. This
Mm-hmm.
is the discussion we always have. Mid-model year changes are very significant nowadays, and the IS is actually
Mhm.
the best example of that. For the last generation because mid-model year they made a drastic change in the way they tuned the car and the way they handled it, the way they let it handle. And the end result was it actually got bumped up a class almost, competing
Mhm.
above the level of BMWs. Right.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
if that's already a really, really good platform, so if they tweak it a little bit, what we might see is that this is the new body and so on, and then mid model year life we'll see another nice power or handling bump. We'll see. So Paulo, Formula One.
Yeah.
Paulo has stepped in and said that he's going to be doing a Formula One chat with us. So we're going to have him every time the team changes. He's going to have to change his cap. We're going to make him do that, but that
Okay.
means you have to buy him. But anyway, okay, Paulo, tell us about Formula One.
Yeah.
What
So
happened?
it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend for Formula One, because Lewis Hamilton finally won his seventh drivers' world title.
Wow.
So that puts him tied up
Mhm.
with Schumacher,
Schumacher,
who's been
yes.
considered widely as the greatest of all time, the GOAT. But yeah, like what's interesting is that he tied Schumacher's record with less races in his name. So Schumacher had a total of 306 races, but
Mhm.
Hamilton from the last race has only had 264 races. So
Wow.
people are saying that statistically, Hamilton is no doubt above Schumacher.
Wow.
But
That's
of
a bold
course,
claim.
Okay,
I'm
we're
not
gonna have
saying
a,
that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
This is what F1 experts are saying. But for me personally, I grew up as a Schumacher fan, Ferrari fan.
Schumacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think Lewis deserves that kind of recognition. Like I think it's kind of similar to like in the NBA, like there's the Jordan LeBron debate. It's
no idea. Doesn't have a motor. We don't care.
okay. I think it might be. I think it's a pointless conversation at this point because the numbers
Oh, we're
say,
gonna have this conversation.
yeah,
Okay.
the numbers just say
Okay. Here's a question: when did you first see Schumacher win? Michael Schumacher win a race?
I think around 2000 when I first started following it. I was
Okay.
watching with my dad and my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the
Wow.
time when Ferrari and Schumacher were really dominating.
Mhm. Oh
But
yeah.
you know what? There's something I noticed about Hamilton. Hamilton is always composed. When he would have challenges in terms of strategy, with his tires especially, you can really see that he pulls through. Um,
Mhm.
Another point of comparison, back when Schumacher had his best years, people were always criticizing him for being a dirty driver. But you would never hear that about Lewis, which speaks highly of him. Right?
Yeah, but you also hear that Lewis is pretty cold.
Yeah, that's what people are saying.
Oh,
right?
we're gonna have a conversation with this. You,
Yeah.
me, William, and Aaron are gonna have a long conversation about this because you haven't even
Yeah.
brought up Ayrton Senna, Alan Prost,
Yeah.
any of those guys.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so there's actually the question, right? How much do statistics matter when you're deciding who the best driver is? Okay, I have the hugest amount of respect for Michael Schumacher, but in terms of those, okay, maybe we shouldn't have this. Okay, but anyway, I just think he didn't have to do all the things he did to get where he was. The best. There's some great Schumacher stories, and they're from JP Calimbas in his actual run-ins with Michael Schumacher, and they
Mhm.
were. I have seen Michael Schumacher in press conferences. I've interviewed him. I've seen him when he announced in Monza that he was retiring.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
I've seen his eyes almost tear up in front of me. I have never seen him with a face as when JP went up to him in a watch event and asked him this question. It was the most amazing. Anyway, we're gonna bring JP on to explain that one because
Yeah,
he's
okay.
got
Yeah.
he's got
Yeah.
stories that you would not believe. Anyway, because
Yeah.
JP is a big Michael Schumacher fan. We should have him in
Mhm.
that thing as well. Okay. Anyway, okay, F1. Chris, what are you gonna tell us about?
Well, locally, what I found interesting was they're gonna build highway that connects NLEX, SLEX, Skyway, and the new Bulacan Airport. A bit
Yes.
on the
Yes.
on the local side.
Mhm.
This is important to me living in the south because the
Yeah.
the more connected we are to everything, the better. I mean, we're already paying toll just to get to Makati, so
Okay, so
uh,
what would that allow you to do? What specifically
That
would that allow you to do?
means I can actually go to the new airport when it's operational in
Okay.
Bulacan, and just
You can
take the
bypass
Skyway
EDSA. Yeah.
and bypass
Right.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it basically will cut travel time significantly.
Actually,
Okay.
It's
in
a great
addition to
thing for
that,
everyone living in the south.
Okay.
if I may add to that, it's not up yet, but by the
Yeah.
time that you guys will watch this, it will be San Miguel would have announced a plan of road networks to and from the airport,
Mm-hmm.
not just
Yes.
from the south, as
Mm-hmm.
Chris was saying, but from Bulacan and even as
Yes.
far as San Pedro in Laguna. So there.
Yeah. So this is a
Okay.
project that's still underway. I don't know when it'll
Mhm.
be completed, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain how it's routed? Where are these
Uh,
chunks gonna be?
Somewhere along
no.
SLEX, I think.
No, but SLEX. But then where's the at what point are they gonna come together?
They haven't. You know what? That's a good question. They haven't really
Specified.
specified where
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
They haven't
Yeah.
specified, but they just said that we will be connecting everything. So I guess
Yes.
Yeah.
that's something to
Yeah.
look
At
forward
least
to.
the intentions there.
Okay, so
Yes.
but then
Yes.
that okay,
The
if they
intention is
haven't
there.
announced the platform yet, the layout yet, then that means it's still a ways off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
but
Still a ways
what,
off.
Well, Skyway 3 is already I parang the main artery, and then I guess they're gonna connect everything to that. Skyway 3 meaning
Yeah.
from SLEX to NLEX.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
you know what? I haven't found that yet. Where does it? What? Okay, Chris, how would you get to NLEX from where you are? You're right off SLEX. How would you get to NLEX right now, given with the new SLEX, whatever G said?
With a new thing, I haven't tried it myself because I haven't really left the city.
I
Ah,
haven't really left.
Who knows? Nix, do you know?
Yeah.
from based on like my driving under that part of the Skyway, it like it hits the Manila area. Like so
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Osmeña Highway,
Uh-uh.
it takes a parang a left
Okay.
bend.
Yeah.
Okay,
Then
so
Yeah. The one that you're
basically
building
you
there. Yeah.
okay, so basically what you're doing, you're not getting okay, if you're coming from the south, what you guys are doing,
You stay on the
end up
Skyway.
you stay
Yeah.
on the way. You're not pulling off
yes,
on C5.
Yeah.
You're not
yeah,
pulling
No.
off
No.
on EDSA.
uh,
You're
No.
going all the way effectively as far as you can, and then you're connecting at that point.
In fact,
All
I
the way
think
to
there's a
NLEX.
Although the
yeah.
NLEX,
There's a construction when you're in Quirino. When you turn left on Quirino, to the right, that's where that Skyway 3 goes, going all the way
Okay.
yeah.
to
Okay.
yeah,
So
tama.
it passes Osmeña, then G. Araneta
Hmm.
Avenue, and then all the way to
Yes.
NLEX. You will
Yep.
never
Yes,
touch outside the flyover until you get to NLEX itself.
Yeah.
From
yes.
my
But
side.
It basically bypasses EDSA. So there
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well,
So
But
it
it's
doesn't
not
if you're
bypass it.
up
It
and
goes.
running
It doesn't
yet,
go
right?
the same.
goes
Yeah, they're
above
not
it.
even near
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I mean you won't have
Okay.
to pass through EDSA to get to the north
Okay,
anymore.
Yeah.
got it. No, because
Yeah.
I don't see it right. Where I am, where Paolo comes from, we're not going to see that.
Yeah,
Uh,
because
it actually
Although
might be worse for us now,
Affects
right?
us. Yeah.
no, actually,
northbound
you know what?
kasi,
Go ahead.
sorry, northbound, you guys are like on the right side of EDSA.
Yes.
The Skyways on the east, on the left side of EDSA. If you're like
Okay.
northbound, that's why you
Alright.
don't see it.
But actually, San
Alright.
Miguel is building a network of it's called Parex, Pasig River Expressway, somewhere from C5 connecting all the way to Manila. Again, Skyway system. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Good. No, that's dude.
Yeah.
That's what we
No,
need,
kasi send
man.
a lot of press releases to us, so you get all the info.
I
Yeah.
wonder, you know my question? I wonder how much a toll would be from Alabama.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah.
That's the
That's the thing.
question.
It's not gonna be cheap.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
But I'll pay it.
Will it-
Mhm.
No, kasi
30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll pay it.
Rather than being
Kasi
stuck
time
in
is
traffic.
gold, diba? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. What's my my news?
sorry.
I
Nick.
sat
Oh,
with
Wait,
What?
I have a little sort of news. If you're driving on the Skyway, the new speed limit's 80 kilometers per hour.
They
Oh,
they
really?
brought it down.
that's not
Yeah,
little
yeah.
news.
Really?
That's big news.
Yeah.
All the way?
but,
They
yeah,
lowered
Why?
it?
yeah.
Why?
So like I had a friend who got caught because he thought the speed limit was still 100, so he was driving at
100.
around 110 or 115.
Has there
Did
been
they
a
post
major
it? Is it
accident or
posted?
something? Yeah.
if
Is it
you
posted?
drive on the Skyway, you'll see like there's a new sign, speed limit sign 80.
So they removed the 100.
Yeah,
Why?
it's
Ah,
now
okay.
80.
That's a
I don't know.
question.
Like so like
Maybe
when I
because
was driving there last week, I'm like, bakit 80? So I just followed it, diba? And I saw a lot
yeah,
of people
Mhm.
caught at the end.
You followed
because
it?
it's a bit
Sure.
tight. The roads are a
Yeah, of
bit,
course.
the lanes are a bit
Ah, okay.
narrow.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Pag
I
Well,
malabang.
guess that's why.
you know, I gotta say, let them try it. Right now, a lot of the things that we've been concerned about, they're
Yeah.
working out. We were having okay, I'm segueing into what I was going to say, but we were sitting down with a bunch of people the other day, and we were talking about what things work and what things haven't worked. A lot of us complained about the bus system moving around, for example, but
Oh,
it's for those that don't understand this, they took all the buses off the massively annoying
right
thoroughfare that
lane.
is EDSA.
Yeah. Mhm.
And instead of having them all on the right, they were all constrained by cement blocks to stay on the left,
The left.
connecting
Yeah.
to the Metro Rail system or MRT or whatever you want to call it. End result was for a while it messed us all up, but it's actually working smoothly now. And
Yes.
what people
Mhm.
are saying, as was explained to me by our friend Ira Panginiban, actually, who I want to bring on this, by the way. He explained that the complaints aren't from the commuters now because their ride is actually quicker, supposedly. And as those that have cars, the answer is, hey, you've got cars. You can see where the problem is at this point. Things
Uh,
that have happened during the pandemic, we're seeing that that's worked. We're seeing, for example, is this our best chance to get rid of the wonderfully intelligent coding system in the Philippines, in case anyone's not from here listening, and we know that you do, means that basically you cannot use your asset 20% of the work day allotment. 1 day a week, you basically can't use it.
yeah.
So that's just the level of it. That's just not popular. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Having said that, we have found that during this lockdown, it's worked. We're hoping that it's going to get pulled away,
Remove.
right? Okay,
Hopefully.
Nix,
Hopefully.
you want to say
Yeah,
something?
yeah. No, with the color coding. Sorry. Yeah. It worked when it started, but like when everyone got used to it, everyone just bought another car and they're back to it.
I
Yeah.
think
Defeats the
I would
purpose.
argue that no, it
Yeah.
did not work when it started because it just shifted the problem. And to be perfectly honest, you could really see that was going to happen. At what
Yeah,
point
yeah.
is that not going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
It's just inertia going forward now. Right now, if you take out, in my opinion, the whole coding system, you're going to get rid of a lot of the old cars because everyone needs to have 2 or 3 cars if they can.
It's
Uh,
true.
we were okay. Anyway, the segue I was getting to was we were with Toyota the other day, physically with them, and having discussions. And G has mentioned that on our website and so on. But basically, everyone was in the beginning very wary of actually having that meeting. But Toyota, from Toyota's point of view, from their president's point of view, from their corporate point of view, they were saying that we as leaders have to make a stand. And it's clear, obviously, that Toyota is the leading automotive brand in the country. And just like San Miguel and RSA, they're taking a stand and saying we got to push forward. We have to be very, very clear on our protocols and our safety systems, and they both are, both San Miguel and Toyota, as an example. But they want to move forward, and that's what they're going to do. And it's clear that everyone's suffering through all this, but we got to go forward. They got to look for next year. Toyota launched. Here's a question: Who can answer this? How many cars did Toyota launch this year during the pandemic?
3.
Hmm.
No.
5.
Road across.
G.
June, July, August,
G was
September,
right. It's
October.
5,
5.
and one
Right.
one about to be Lexus.
Every
Correct.
month.
5. Okay.
Fire
Yeah.
this
So they're
year.
launching. So people are launching cars. So
One
they
Lexus.
just got to keep on going,
Oh.
right? So anyway, the point of all that is that, and here's another interesting thing. We learned more from Toyota's information about how the pandemic affects different Toyota groups around the world than we do from, to be honest, a lot of government releases in different countries. because at least we can, when we talk to Toyota and we say, okay, what's it like in Toyota India? What's it like in Toyota USA? They know because they live it, and they're not beholden to any political maneuverings to move up or down numbers. So it was actually really interesting, and they follow the rules, right? So they're stuck here. Like the new president arrived in January. What's he been able to do? The new Rolex president arrived in January. What can they do?
Yeah,
they're stuck. They can't explore the country the way they'd like. They can't. They're battling these changes that we just can't figure out. So anyway, the point about all this is that they are doing their best to move forward in the best and most safe possible way, and we appreciate that. And getting back to whatever I don't want to use the word new normal, but getting back to whatever it is that we're going to be living with the next year. And let's make no mistake, we're looking at another year of this, I would think.
Yep.
So there. So it's not, I guess what we're trying to do here is trying to talk a little bit about what we see in the news, but past the point of these are the numbers, these are the whatever. We want to talk about what's going on. There's one thing that Gerard said, that G said, that we didn't bring up. And he explained to me much better why I saw Volvos crashing or being crushed.
Oh yeah.
Were they being dropped or were they being dropped upon?
They were being dropped from they used a crane. They dropped it 30 meters to the ground to simulate a very high-speed crash. And the objective was to help rescuers extricate crash victims a lot faster, because with the new cars being, rigid, harder to pull out doors and stuff, safety systems interfering, simulation basically.
Yeah.
Simulation.
No. See, that was I did a quick look at that, a cursory look at the news, and Gerard explained it a lot better because, and this is all a function of the fact that cars are just better now. We have much better steel protecting us. I thought, honestly, dropping it from a crane was just a stunt, but let's remember, this is Volvo. These are the guys who invented half the safety systems the rest of the world is using. So, and they're not thinking about protecting their passengers. They're thinking about how to get them out now because they're still alive, right?
Exactly.
It's a brilliant thing. And when we talk about, people are using high tensile steel now in different places, and this is a function of that. And we've said this before, and Toyota has actually said this before. We can now save people in what used to kill them. So now we have to look at things like, how do we protect the guy biking down the road? How do you protect a dog? In this case, how do we help rescuers get someone out of a car we've built so well it's hard to get them out of? The whole jaws of death thing, right? No, it's people, and I guess we've been trying to explore this, right, Nix? We're trying to explore what the tech is and why it's important and why. And this is we got to do this. You got to do this thing where you're going to explain to people what is the entry point for the safety systems we think are important. Where can we get traction control? Where can we get stability control in the least expensive car?
It'll surprise you, that's for sure.
So we want to do that. We want to go past the numbers and the tech and the specs, and we want to explain what it is they are, whether it's a news item, whether it's a power bump, whether it's a change in the rear suspension of the city, right? Or the cross. It was the cross. Yeah. So, and I was sitting with the Toyota president yesterday, and I was explaining that. He was like, that's what, you don't know how hard it was to do that. And yet they managed to get, and we discussed this, Chris, we discussed the change in the cross rear suspension and how could they possibly say that they increased comfort and stability and handling. But it held its own when we threw it through some fun corners. So they were right.
Makes a big difference.
Anyway, so there. So that's what we are trying now. We're trying to have a bit more in-depth discussion on the things that matter to us locally, whether it's Formula One and our discussion on who's a better driver, or Chris's attempt to be on the Skyway and pay more money. Okay, so thank you very, very much, everyone. Thanks for joining us once again. This has been the Cars Casually team. We're trying something new, as we always do. Let us know how you like it. Let us know. By the way, you haven't seen it, but we just did this. You're going to see it after this or before this, depending on when this comes out. viewer questions. So send us your questions because we're getting a lot more. Thank you very, very much. This has been Nix. This has been Paolo. This has been Chris. This has been G. I am Carl. We are the Cars Casually group of C Magazine. Thank you very, very much. Stay safe, stay kind, and be healthy. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.